Welcome to the Sovereign Futures podcast. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor. The Sovereign Futures podcast is a sharing space of transformational interviews, sacred teachings, power imagery processes, innovative futuring tools, and topics that can help you design and sculpt your desired futures into your now. Some of our podcasts will be translated into Spanish to bridge cultures where we share the journey of consciousness together. Welcome to the Sovereign Futures podcast. My name is Yvonne de la Flor, your host, which I used to be your bilingual host. This year, I decided to do the podcast only in English, though today I have a guest that I will probably translate a couple of times because she's from Mexico, and I like people to use their natal language and their mother language whatever they feel the most comfortable with. So if it's necessary, I'll translate it. But before I introduce you, I have two guests, actually, a mother and daughter power team. I'm going to repeat this. This is my first mother and daughter power team podcast, and I'm going to have a couple more with incredible ladies that are actually defying the status quo of like mothers and daughters relationships. They are building such powerful businesses, such powerful legacies, and my two guests of today are exactly that. But before that, a couple of announcements. I'm going to be speaking live, believe it or not, during pandemic, etc. or not. I'm going to be speaking live in the Refiners Conference. This is founded by Mr. Tab Pierce. We're going to put all the information about it in the description of the podcast. I'm going to be speaking live. We'll put the link there. If you would like to join, you can join virtually or live. And there's going to be a music band of the 80s that I actually love. So if you want to know more about that, I'm going to be speaking about the importance of adapting in businesses, in our personal life, and also the power of not living in emergency, but living in emergence. So I hope to see you there. I'm excited. Public speaking has been in my heart to be able to contribute more to our human family. So I'm going to be there. Another news is that we have an inner circle, leadership inner circle, where we are able to meet a lot of beautiful people every month, twice a month, an inner circle called Convergence, which is ancient spiritual teachings, but applied for the modern times. I'm an advocate of practical spirituality, of common sense, and of doing the work. So I'm in a way kind of a spiritual teacher, but not the typical spiritual teacher, because my practicality in spirituality, it's something that I believe that people require to have more of, which is believe in themselves, self-reliance, more freedom within, and take responsibility for their creation. So anyways, if you ever wonder how you could work with me or join any of my classes, this is my only class that I have so far right now open. It's a 6-month container and you can still join. It's called the Leadership Inner Circle called Convergence. And we'll also put the link in the description of the podcast for you to listen if so you choose. And another thing is I want to give a shout out to Ascend Media and its founder, Matthew Peters, because he keeps his company and his team keeps producing my podcast. My podcast is philanthropic based. It's a contribution. We are not after money. We don't have sponsors. My sponsor is Ascend Media. My sponsor is my own company, De La Flor Teachings, which is a company that supports leadership and it delivers coaching, mentorship programs and public speaking for creating opportunities for people to create sustainable transformation. So that's all for now. I think that's my announcements. I do my own commercials, so bear with me right now. And now I'm going to introduce you to my two guests. I am super honored to have them here. They are very important people in my life, really powerful women in my life. I'm going to tell you something which it's true for my soul. The way I have been able to create my businesses and serve thousands of people through philanthropies, through nonprofit organizations, through creation of hundreds of programs is because of the support also of these two incredible ladies. One of them, I've known, we're friends for more than what, Rebe? I keep saying 20 years, but I think it's more now.
20 years. I think it's 20 years, maybe more.
Yeah, maybe more. Maybe 100 years, but we're going to keep it in 20 because we look really nice still. We're good looking. More than 20 years, we've been friends. We play the different roles. I've been her teacher. She's been my teacher. She's served my children in her businesses because she's an incredible teacher for conscious education for children. And so we play those roles, but the role that remains consistent and our loyalty has been the proof of that is our friendship. And that's what I treasure the most. We are collaborators, co-creators. We have created so many things together. She is Rebeca Montero. I should say her name. Rebeca Montero is my dear friend, teacher, a role model of consciousness for me, and such an incredible person in my life. She is the founder of the Instituto Rebeca Montero. She's the director of a network television that I have the privilege to serve as producer of. She's the director of Latin America of the Network for Human Empowerment. She is a parent talk trainer, certified trainer of trainers, one of the truly top, more expertise-wise on the world. If you ever want to learn how to speak to children or to other humans with words that empower, words that wound, she is the person to go with. There's a lot of trainers, incredible people doing this work, but she has done it for more than 20 years. So you can't beat experience. You can get the knowledge, you can get the diplomas, but experience, you cannot purchase experience. So Rebeca Montero is that. She's also the founder of an incredible movement, and I'll talk to her about it. We'll talk about it. It's called La Paz Inicia en Ti. Paz begins within you. It's a movement. She's about to launch an initiative of that. She was the founder of a movement called La Paz Inicia en Casa. Peace begins at home, but it evolved, and she will tell us why she moved out of that initiative and evolved it into La Paz Inicia en Ti. The peace begins within you. So I could say a lot about Rebeca Montero, and we'll put all of her information, her website, everything, also in the description. But I have two guests today, so it's my first podcast threesome. That sounds weird, but we're three in this podcast today. And my second guest, she's truly, for me, she's an angel. She's a really strong woman. She's so young. She has a company called Satori Branding Agency. She's also an essential part of my company, De La Flor Teaches International, because she is chief of operations. And also she is my personal assistant. And I think it doesn't honor what she does. Because it's not only personal assistant. It's like psychologist, like patients training 101. It's like also reminding me of the future generations. She's really young, but she's really wise. She is a true mystical entrepreneur. She's incredible at tarot reading too, besides handling the businesses of so many powerful people too, that I have the privilege to know them all. Her name is Sofía Montero, and she happens to be the daughter of Rebeca Montero. So I have a mother and daughter combo here on the podcast. So with that introduction, we're going to just go in and ask questions and just have fun. This is what we do behind the cameras. We work a lot together, but we also have a lot of fun. We love to talk about fashion, believe it or not, about photography, about letting go. The three of us have something in common. And ladies, if you don't agree, you can say that we're really loyal, but once it's time to let go of something, we let it go and boom, we move forward. So hello, Rebe and Sophie. Welcome to the Sovereign Futures podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for this beautiful introduction. It is an honor to be here with both of you, Yvonne and my mom, Rebeca Montero.
Yes, it is an honor for me too. Thank you for the introduction, and I really appreciate our friendship and all we do. And I am really, really grateful to do this podcast with my daughter, Sofía, and with you, my friend, my mentor, collaborators, and all. We cannot say in words the relationship we have, the service of humanity that you teach me. And I say yes, you invite me, and I say yes, and that's what I value the most. Thank you.
Well, I'm so honored. Plus, it's so much fun, Rebe. Since we met, we've created. I don't know. I mean, if we would have, in our past selves, be like just business women, we will have a track of a lot of things. But really, what you just said is we really are together because of service. We share more and more, and we have refined them over the years. The core values of service, of caring, of going the extra mile, of showing up, and also of growing up from mistakes, right? But let's talk about you both. So let's start with you, Rebe, right now, and then I'll go with Sophie. Let's talk about your movement, La Paz Inicia en Ti, and we'll ask Sophie also, because she's part of the movement. Is La Paz Inicia en Ti, Peace Begins with You, for adults, children, men, women, and for the future generations, right? This is a movement you're creating. But tell me about it. So you had the movement called La Paz Inicia en Casa. You had the movement called Peace Begins at Home. And you move out of that. Tell us why and how did it evolve?
Yes. I started La Paz Inicia en Casa because I was living in Cancun city in Mexico, and it happened some violent events in the city. At the same time, other violent event passed in Monterrey, and the teachers in different schools invite me to do something, to speak with the parents, because the children at school was a lot of scared to go to school, a lot of scared to be at school, because what happened in Monterrey was teenager killed his teacher and other students, and then he killed himself. So I was wondering how the children has fear, and children's like 6 years, 7 years, how they could have access to the video of that teenager. Because the parents didn't take care about that. They were watching the video, and the children was there and watched the video. So I said, the past begin at home, not at school, not in other places. It's the peace begin at home with the parents. So I called the conference the Peace Begin at Home, La Paz Inicia en Casa, and I have a collaboration of other women who told me, I want to contribute. Okay, what do you want to create? To come with me. This is what I'm going to talk, and you can talk whatever you want. So this was big. It was in Cancun. The friends come, a lot of people come because it was free. And I wanted to do a big movement of peace, bringing conscious to the parents that what are you doing? How are you creating the peace for your children? In my work, for many years working with children, the children's more have fear is for the mother or for the father. When I ask them, what do you, who you have